Namaste Jain, welcome to MMK The Eagle View. Hope you would have had a wonderful Republic Day celebration. The parade was, I would say, extraordinary. India's sheer strength of military, its Nari Shakti, its women power, and then we have a very, very special guest from France, its President Emmanuel Macron. So today we are going to see the geopolitics behind this invitations of who is going to be the chief guest of the Republic Day parade. General perception about an RD parade is it's a annual event where the India shows its military might, beautiful marchers, soldiers smartly dressed, marching in a lot of weapons being displayed, shown on TV. And then there is a air show, and there is a retreat parade which happened. So this was a regular routine which people were pursuing. But there is a lot of politics behind this particular event which happens annually. Yes, we need to celebrate our Republic Day. We also need to understand what is behind the scenes and why French president was here. First of all, the chief guest for this particular year was supposed to be Joe Biden, President of America. But considering his current domestic situations and his declining popularity, he had refused that invitation, I think 5 to 6 months before. So India went for its alternate guest, which was none other than India's close friend, French President Emmanuel Macron. So let's see where this Indo French friendship starts. If you look at history, between 1656 to 1668, there was a French physician, Francois Bernier. He was the personal physician for then Mughal ruler Aurangzeb. So that's where the history of Indo-France friendship starts. And then later we had Francis Martin, who came down to India to found, he founded Market Town, which is today's Pondicherry, then used to be called as Puducherry. So he founded Puducherry, a nice French town. He made into a nice French colony. 160 kilometers away from Chennai. Even till date, the French heritage is preserved there. To a larger extent, you can actually see a very nice French town in close vicinity of Chennai. Then we can just fast forward. Now come to the World War II era. World War I, World War II, both wars. Indian army soldiers, Indian soldiers were physically there in France. They fought for France's independence. They fought for France's freedom, and they laid down their lives. So France recognizes that very seriously. Notre Dame de Lorette Cemetery, people who have visited Paris, who have visited France know where this is exactly. All the Indian soldiers who sacrificed their life for the sake of France and its people, their names have been etched and they have been given due military honors. Even all the French civilians come and visit, pay their thanks and gratitude to the Indian soldiers. Now we can further fast forward to 1998. This is where India-French partnership agreement was initiated in defense, space and in civil nuclear cooperation. So this was a formal partnership between India and France in the year 1998. Then after we had 2008 where we signed a nuclear energy agreement. So this period is very, very critical because 98 we tested a nuclear weapon. There was a huge sanctions by US and a lot of other Western powers. They denied India its legitimate right to have access to nuclear fuel for its civilian purposes, for energy purposes. That's why France came for our rescue. They gave us the nuclear energy technology and also the fuel by signing a nuclear energy agreement in 2008. 2009, our then Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh was invited as a chief guest for a Bastille Day parade. That was the first time ever an Indian Prime Minister was invited to France to be the chief guest of Bastille Day parade, and that was also the first time where Indian troops went and marched in France in that parade. Now we can come to the Modi's era, 2015. 2015 is the time where we released a Indo-French joint stamp, postal stamp as a mark of remembrance of India and France's partnership. 2015 also is the year where Prime Minister Modi and then President of France, Holland, they jointly announced the Solar Alliance. The Solar Alliance has made a remarkable and a significant progress in the energy sector of the world. So we saw the fruits of it solar energy being actively used in industries, in residential areas across the India. That was the foundation laid. And it was the same year where India's and French governments, it's a government-to-government deal, signed to purchase 36 ready-to-fly Rafales customized with for Indian Air Force. So those aircrafts have been put in service now. All the 36 aircrafts are in service now. 2016 also saw France Prime Minister coming to French President coming to India as a Republic Day parade guest, and that was the first ever time a foreign army marched along with the Indian contingent in our RD parade. That was the first of its kind, and that's a year we saw French Development Authority (FDA). French are good designers, we all know it. People from Chandigarh would know, very much understand how a French design the city looks like compared to all our other cities. So FDA had signed an agreement to have 3 smart cities, to take up 3 smart cities, state-of-the-art French architecture. One is Chandigarh, of course, and second is Nagpur, and third is Pondicherry. 2018, Emmanuel Macron came here as a bilateral visit. He was here in India. There was a rousing welcome given to him, and then India and French government signed around 14 government-to-government agreements and another 14 B2B, business-to-business agreements. 2019, India was invited as a goodwill partner in the G7 summit by France, and there was agreements on joint statements on cyber security, digital technology, and also nuclear energy, successfully done by France and mentored by India. 2020, we saw 2 nations coming up, both the commerce ministers coming up closely and signing an agreement for fast track mechanism to get in the investments which French companies would do in India, or vice versa Indian companies do in France. 2022, we saw Indian Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visiting his counterpart in France. Lot of defence related agreements, joint military exercises, military hardware, strategic assets like Scorpion submarines, a naval version of Rafale, everything was discussed and taken forward. 2023, we marked the 21st bilateral naval exercise which was done in Indian shores, and 2023 is also a remarkable year where Tata placed a massive order of aircraft, 250 plus aircrafts to French Airbus company, and Airbus agreed and decided to make those aircrafts in India, and this will create an ecosystem for civilian aircraft industry. And this eventually came up in Bangalore. We also saw first ever time in 2023 where the Indian and the French army did a joint exercise together in Trivandrum. This was called Fringe X 23. This is the first time ever 2 armies joined together and did an exercise. It was always a naval exercise which used to happen earlier. This furthered the partnership. 2023 marks the 25th year silver jubilee of Indo French agreement, because the first agreement, partnership agreement, was signed way back in 1998. So 2023, last year, we saw the silver jubilee celebrations in both the countries. There are a lot of bilateral and high level meetings happen. And then 2023 is the year where our Prime Minister Modi was invited as a chief guest in the Bastille Day parade, and on the same day he was awarded the Grand Cross of the Legion, the highest civilian honor of France, was awarded to our Prime Minister. And France eventually became the 11th largest investor of India starting 2010. So if you have seen this journey starting 17th century, it has always been a time tested one. They always have stood, Indian soldiers, hundreds of thousands of soldiers have sacrificed their life for the freedom of France. India always stood with France, and France always stood with India in tougher times. In fact, during emergency, when Indira Gandhi declared emergency at that point of time, on that particular year, no Western nation wanted to come to India as a chief guest, because it would end up recognizing the emergency which was declared, which was seen as a blot on democracy. When such a thing happened, French Prime President was the one who agreed and came here as a chief guest for that particular day parade. Same thing in 98, when we had severe number of sanctions due to our nuclear test done in Pokhran. French went ahead and signed a civil nuclear treaty. So this is how strong the India-French friendship are. Now let's look at few French investments. A lot of us know Citroën, Stellantis, these companies everybody knows. Saint-Gobain everybody know, it's a French company. There is a French company, power sector company called AFD. They have been helping SJVN to make an hydroelectric power project in India. We have Monin, a gourmet company, a French gourmet company who made a 300 crore investment building up a factory in Hyderabad. Saint Gobain, we all know they have a very state-of-art facility in Chennai and a couple of other locations. Saint Gobain is going ahead with 8,000 crore investment in India. Schneider Electric, you all know, again they are expanding their business in India. Not only business, it's also manufacturing. Safran, a French aircraft engine manufacturing company, has set up plants in 3 locations and also their R&D center. The French electrical company, the government electric company, the EDF has signed an agreement with the NTPC. They are helping us in terms of moving into cleaner energy, more optimized energy in conventional fuels like coal. And we have Alstom, who makes a metro for us. This is the first ever time we made a metro. Alstom made metro in India, and the metros, 11 of those metros were exported to Australia for the Sydney metro line. We have Citroën, the latest entry, who have come up in car. The car market, they do struggle because French have a different way of designing things and handling things, and Indian customers are more focused on value and value for money. But this thing somewhere it's a competitive market, we can't get into it. But the considerable amount of French investment, it's not just about investments, it's about the partnership, it's about the trust, it's about the chemistry both the leaders share, and it's also about a people to people connect. So all this thing diverges into it. Now let's specifically look at the visit. So French president landed in Jaipur instead of Delhi. And when he landed up in Jaipur, people asked, then PM Modi went there, he hosted him, he received him, and we saw the 2 great leaders having a cup of chai, a masala chai in a local shop. And after the end of the chai, Prime Minister took his mobile and then he flaunted his UPI payment. You know, he just flaunted, you see how the UPI digital payments have reached the far nooks and corners of India. Yeah, France would want to replicate this. France also understands the digital India success. So it was just a display to the world. And post that, French President Emmanuel spoke about India's astronomical connect with France, because there's a lot of future partnership in terms of space research, artificial intelligence, robotics, and joint satellite launches are being planned. So this dates back to 1734, when the Jesuit astronomers from France, they came to Jaipur, and they were the people who identified the exact latitude and longitude of Jaipur. So today world, we can just open up our mobile, we can just put our finger on that Google map, we can find out the latitude and longitude. But those time, 300 years before, 320 years before, the French Jesuit missionary astronomers, they came in, they identified the latitude and longitude of Jaipur. That had a very relevant and different use that time altogether. So he remembered that, he definitely remembered that, and he was cherishing that memory. He said that this is not a new partnership, it has, we landed up in India a long time back. Such is the level of partnership you have. So this time the collaboration is on science, it's on culture, it's on education, it's on defense, nuclear energy, land warfare, robotics. And to sum it up, there is a very strong geopolitical message by Emmanuel Macron, the French president. He mentioned about hegemony-free, fair and free Indo-Pacific trade, which directly means China, nothing about it. French, for its presence in Indo-Pacific, it needs India, it trusts India, it wants to partner with India. It's not about selling submarines alone. France and India in future will do lot of strategic moves in the Indo-Pacific region, which will be independent of what India is doing with the US or even in the Quad alliance. In France is not part of Quad, it's not part of AUKUS. It has been kind of being snubbed by US a year before. But France believes, has formulated its Indo-Pacific strategy with India as a core. So we will see a lot of joint military exercises, a lot of cooperations in maritime security in the coming year. And the very important thing about the education is French president has committed 30,000 students visa for Indian students. He also understands Indian students don't speak much of French, even though the French alliance is there in all metros. It is also the onus on us to learn French. Our students could go for better opportunity. In my corporate life, I had myself worked with a French boss. You can learn a lot of things in simple terms. They always aim for excellence. So people who want to build career in universities abroad, they generally flock to UK, they go to Canada, they go to US. But I request to check France as an option. They are world-class institutes which are far better than UK and France and Canada. So UK and USA and Canada. So do explore it. So he also speaks about visas for those students who non-French speaking students to go into a kind of an English medium. I would still suggest French is a very sweet language. If I would have an opportunity, I would learn it. Definitely, I am trying my best to learn it. Because this is one of the most friendliest country. We have seen the journey so far, how strong this partnership is all about. So it's better we make this use of this friendship. That's where he meant 30,000 students visa in the next 3 to 4 years. And Tata and Airbus has signed one more agreement to make H-125 helicopters in India. That's again a bigger part of this thing. And they are not speaking about a partnership. They are now speaking about Horizon. So India-France joint Horizon 2047. So the next 25 years they have planned it well. The roadmap have been set. Shortly you will see a lot of joint satellite launches, lot of emphasis on space research, space warfare, submarine technology, AI and robotics. All these things is part of this visit, this Republic Day parade. And they also spoke for about 5 years students visa, where Indian students can go for their masters, do their internship, work and come back, or if possible take their work visas further. Overall, it's a kind of there are minor pricking issues that didn't even surface. Much is not spoken about Scorpion and the naval versions of Rafale, but it's a very standard, robust, collaborative and a trusted partnership, time-tested partnership I would say, which eventually got speeded up, formalized in 1998. We still have a long way to go. Both nations believe in multipolarity. Both nations believe in their own sovereign rights, taking their sovereign decisions as far as the country's future is concerned. And French people are good hosts for Indians and vice versa. Indians also host French tourists. You can come and see in Pondicherry, they live like it is their own land. That's how this cultural partnership is. So a lot of future versions is going to come. There are good vacancies for yoga teachers, nursing professionals, hospitality professionals, but you need to learn the language, because you can't expect every French to speak English. 90% of the students speak only French. So it's a good win-win situation. So this Republic Day parade is when we saw the French soldiers also marching past, and we saw the Rafales doing a fly past. It's a wonderful country to be with as a trusted friend. These two countries will progress forward. France has its own set of issues where India can contribute, and vice versa, India's issues French can always contribute. So this is the geopolitical and strategic politics began choosing who is going to be a chief guest of the Republic Day parade. It's just not a parade. Yes, we all watch it, we all relish it, but there is a lot of geopolitical importance to it. Hope you like this video. Do like, share and subscribe. Thank you all. Jai Hind.